Welcome to the channel. My name is Crawford and this is Virginia's for Lowriders. We're back in the garage. We're working on the Caprice. We got a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. We need to be in North Carolina at a show in like 2 months with this car running and driving. If you've never been here before, this is an 80-ish, 87-ish Caprice. We are body dropping this car. Last week we came in, welded up the front driver and passenger side, started metal finishing all that, and we're going to keep chipping away at a whole lot of sheet metal work. We got some more cutting to do this weekend. We need to work on the firewall. The firewall as it is just cut in half, bent in, and put down and just basically overlapped. We need to join all of this, make it strong and safe again, fill in this giant HVAC hole with some sheet metal. So we're going to get out the metal brake, which is buried. We're going to get out maybe the bead roller and some other dies and sheet metal tools, and we're going to get some fabrication done so we feel accomplished. And that's what hopefully we're going to get done this weekend, is the majority of the firewall. I don't know how far we'll get because there's a lot of stuff in the way and other stuff over there in the way, and I'm still kind of getting over the cold thing, but we're out here, we're making progress. I've been out here every day except for yesterday, chipping away at the floor in the rear. I will show footage of that. I got the rear pretty much welded up, and I am starting to do the metal working. We need the metal brake to make some gussets to go all of the corners to make everything strong again. And yeah, if you've never been here before, we got a couple of videos on this, over 60 videos on the Mazda, videos on the Ranger, videos to come on the van and everything else that we're building here. Last week we hit 4,000 subscribers, which is crazy to me. That 4,000 people are watching me work in my little garage, and it's awesome, and I appreciate y'all, and hopefully we keep going up from there. So if you've never been here before, subscribe, because there are at least 4,000 people that are interested in watching me in the garage. Maybe y'all will be too. So we're just going to get into the work. I'm trying not to ramble. It happens. I did a very minimal rambling last week since I was sick, but yeah, I'm just going to stop here and we're going to get to work. We're going to need to start laying out some cuts and deciding what needs to stay and what needs to go. I have a feeling a lot of it's going to go and just get sheet metaled. So before we get into deciding what we're going to cut, I need to figure out where the galvanizing stops. Just grinding a few spots here and there, I have a feeling that it kind of seems like it. I'm hoping, I really, really hope that the galvanizing is on the bottom of the car and the entire thing isn't galvanized. What we're going to do is basically take the paint off of this and check this and see how much of a pain in the butt this is actually going to be. It seems like I was hopefully right. It kind of seems like it's the bottom half of the car because I don't see any of it popping up here or here. Usually you can see it. It's like a different tone of silver that's actually really hard to get off. But yeah, looking pretty good, I think. Fingers crossed that we don't run into any.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm back. I still don't feel good, but it's okay. Me and old Crawford are sitting here talking, and I was thinking about it, you know. Oh, and Justin. But nobody cares about Justin.
Screw that guy.
So, we were talking because my man does a lot of things outside of just working on low riders, mini trucks, all that. He does some tree work, yard work, stuff with like cutting up cars and scrapping them, cool stuff like that. Just a bunch of little things and all that during the week that he doesn't put on camera because this page is more so dedicated to lowriders, mini trucks, that kind of thing. So I was just wondering if y'all would be interested in seeing that kind of stuff on a secondary channel. Please let me know in the comments down below. It wouldn't be very often, maybe what, once a month, possibly, like a collage of what you did for the month, something like that. Just tossing ideas around. It's not for certain. We just want to know if y'all wanted to see it. Like, do y'all love him enough to see him?
People last week asked about RC stuff.
And then now we can put on that channel our RC stuff because, if you watched the video 2 weeks ago, we went and bought RC stuff, and it snowballed. I bought this crawler today because it's a dent side Ford, and they haven't made a better looking truck since. I bought a truck last Friday, and the weekend before that, I bought a truck before that. And then these guys, he's got the bug bad. This guy owns about 30 of them. Yeah, so we would put that stuff on the other channel too. And it would be us, here and there, and a lot of tomfoolery going on, you know. But just let us know in the comments, and I'm glad to be back and back on this thing, and it's all my fault. And it's all my fault that this video is probably not going to have a lot of work because I showed up last night. Me and Justin showed up around the same time last night, and we ended up going and bashing our RC cars at 11 o'clock at night till about 1 a.m. And this guy went to bed because he can't pull all-nighters anymore. Because he is old. He's an old soul. So then we came over today, and we haven't done anything yet. And it's what, 5 o'clock, 5:30. So my fault, but we're gonna get after it. You know, this video is brought to you by. YouTube, I did not mean to say that. This video is brought to you by RC Addictions, lowrider and mini truck stuff. And look at those beautiful wheels. I don't know if y'all appreciate how beautiful those things are. I don't know if the camera catches it, but those things are awesome in person. But this is going on too long. I'm rambling, as somebody would say. I just wanted to say hey, and I'm feeling better. Okay. GoPro, stop recording.
So last night, as we were waiting for the batteries to charge up, and I'm sitting here staring at this thing, after I ground this down and realized there was no galvanizing up this high, I was trying to figure out how to make this flow. So we have this 3-inch difference here. So this used to be joined at the bottom of this. I think what I'm going to do is cut this and then try to sawzall this flange back off. I might even try and just take it out by the spot welds, I'm not sure, and move this section back up and then weld it smooth. That way it still resembles the factory firewall and I don't have to get into a ridiculous amount of fabrication as far as that goes. That's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, again, we didn't get any work done and it's like 6 o'clock now. One thing I did realize, the car still weighs too much without the front end on it, to where it's, when I take my straps off that are holding everything in place, it lifts, it tips backwards just a hair. So without the strap, I end up having like a 1/16 of an inch of a gap there. So those need to stay on there until this is basically more welded together than it is. I thought me doing the door jambs, that wouldn't be a problem, but Apparently the car still weighs enough to pick up on the body mounts or whatever it's doing, so it's gonna be a little tricky. So we're gonna cut the Sawzall and see where we get. Tricky, there's so many layers, like an onion. Just do the thing without doing the other thing.
I want you to do this, but
Punches everything. Battery's dead. I was wondering why it kept flashing. Probably the only one charged. Thanks. A little bit of a difference there.
or keep them completely sealed.
It's flushish.
Swing like a girl.
Oh, I found a little rust. It's just surface rust though. All along here. I'm not going to be able to reuse this, but I have enough of it to replicate this shape. After getting in here with the Sawzall and getting a little rough with it, there's not too much meat there to reuse this piece. Not that it probably needs to be replaced anyway with all of the seam sealer and crap that's on there. But I'm going to get all of this cleaned and do the exact same cut on the other side. And then we need to start figuring out the slice in between the two, which I think I have a plan, but it's going to be a little tricky. All right, I got all that cut out. I just need to go through and clean that up. Did a little test cut with some, I don't even know where they are. Some of these guys, some tin snips, which I'm going to try my best to tin snip all of this because it's so flimsy. I don't picture cutting it with a saw working out very well. What is Justin doing? Hey, hold on, don't say any cuss words. Bring it over here. Did you put your tire back on right? No. It's. Let's shine some light on this real quick. Maybe you can hold that on the back. Maybe that's what we'll go with.
Yeah, I gotta figure out where it's at.
You want to hold it on the really mangled up looking part.
Yeah. I guess I'll build the whole car for you at this point.
Well, you did it anyway. Remember, you're the guy that comes in at nighttime.
Oh, that is mangled.
I told you. You're holding the flat spot on there, right?
The round.
Yeah.
This end.
Yep, right in the middle.
Yes. Pound. Look me in my eye when you're.
Does it make it better?
Look me in my eye when you're pounding me.
All right.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, you can work with it. I gotta trim it a little bit.
Right there.
Right here.
Right on that top.
Where it's overlapping.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got any entry points here. How loud is that in the car?
It's actually quieter in the car than it is out there.
Alright, so we got a little bit of a dilemma. While we're waiting for the other side to cool down, we're gonna jump over here to this gap. Still gotta take all the rust and nasty paint and stuff off. This piece obviously doesn't fit back in there like I was hoping because the car gets wider at the top. So we're gonna try and replicate this weird sliver and make it big enough to fill this gap. And hopefully strong again. So we're gonna make some templates and bang on some sheet metal for a little bit. Something like this. Just not crappy cardboard. Just, yeah, turn to the right a little bit. That's good lighting there. How do you charge it? Or that one's not chargeable?
1% juice.
Oh, juice.
Juice, man. The juice. When it starts tasting like barbecue, yeah, that's when you know you need to do something other than charge it.
I forgot that they're supposed to be that fast.
Probably.
You want a forearm workout?
Who?
Anybody?
You're doing a mighty fine job of it. You're doing such a good job, I hate to fuck it up.
Cutting 16 gauge with
It's a motherfucker.
with 10 snips is
Fucking job.
it's a yob.
Yeah. I cut 12 gauges.
Ooh, wow.
Pretty impressive, right?
It is very impressive. I think that'll work. It's like the only time you'll ever be able to get back in there. I managed to ruin another lens. It's bad. Gotta order some of those. Look at this progress. It's pretty good. It was tricky and it took cut after cut after cut to get everything to line up. But if you're tackling this, just make sure you plan your cuts because firewalls aren't flat. This thing has bumps and ridges and it looks like somebody, I didn't even mess with this. It looks like this from the factory, however it's stamped, is stamped with a bunch of dudes with hammers because it is nowhere near flat or straight. But it's lining up pretty good. So now, I mean, it really doesn't matter, but I like to get in here and hammer and dolly some of this. But all my curves line up. All of these really terrible ridges and bumps line up. The only thing I have left to cut is where the fuel pedal mounts. So I got maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet worth of cutting and trimming and trimming and trimming to get all that to fit. But I think that I can't even hold the camera in there, so I don't know if there's really a point in me trying to record it. So I'm going to do that off camera sometime this week. We need to tackle this giant hole, and this is where we're at with the filler piece. I got a little bit of hammering I need to do in here. It's just kind of tricky to get to, but the piece we made looks pretty good. I removed the other fender mount because it wouldn't work because this is smushed, so that fender mount would have to be located down here basically. Same thing on the other side. I removed that one a couple weeks ago. Pretty good progress. I need to get a template made and then transfer that over to this for this giant hole, and my bead roller is under all of that. I really, really, really need a bigger garage. This is, I don't know if I've talked about this on the Caprice. I talked about it on a Mazda like a year ago. All of this stuff on the windows is a protective film for welding. Weld splatter's not supposed to go through this, and this stuff is expensive, but it's way cheaper than buying a window. So I'm going to try and use it as template material because I think it'll work good for this. It doesn't stick to dirt very well. It has an adhesive on it. That adhesive is useless against dirt, so this might not work. Finally changed the blades on these. I didn't mean to add such a long clip of me cutting this last week, but significantly faster with fresh blades. I got the sheet metal cut, trimmed, and ready to go for the firewall. Whenever I do stuff in cars, I try to make the panels, if I do bead rolls, try to make the panels fit what could have possibly been there from the factory, unless it's like a completely new bed floor that's made from scratch, and then you just go and do the normal like blocks and all the random shapes that you see on tons and tons of vehicles. If I'm only adding to an existing floor or an existing bed or anything on the car, like this firewall, I try to replicate something similar to what's there from the factory. And what I mean by that, in the floorboard of this, there's a lot of bead rolls, or stamps. What is a stamp? Not a bead roll, but as you can see, they have these very simple, straightforward designs in its continuous just lines. Some things, like the Mazda, has essentially little dimple dies here and there. Some things have blocks like you see people put into bed floors and the actual floorboards and all of the other things in vehicles. Since this has the lines, I'm just going to continue the lines. It takes away the me having to sit here and be creative and think about a bunch of stuff, and it'll flow. Not that you'll ever see the floor ever again once it's covered up, but you kind of understand what I'm saying, I guess. It just makes more sense to me to do it this way. So what I did, drew some really simple lines on there. I just copied essentially what they have there. Those are a little bit more curvy, which I could do that while I'm bead rolling, but I'm just going to transfer that to this. I dug out the bead roller just enough for us to get to it. So let's throw some beads in here and try and get this thing welded up before the end of the day. I definitely just shuffled stuff around to give me just enough room to get in here. I can't start past that line because that line has metal behind it and the bead roll won't allow it to sit flush. 1, 2, try that. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room over here to do this. Kind of thinking I'm not, and I'm going to have to shuffle some stuff around again. We are now touching the sandblaster. Try that. Now that I done moved. Oh yeah, way wobbly there. It's okay. Well, I got some wires to repair now. Actually caught the wiring harness on that side of the car on fire somehow. It's a nice surprise. I ran out of time. I haven't done that this year. I've been pretty good about getting the videos up early. But this time, I ran out of time. I definitely have to order new lenses for my camera tonight. Here we are. It looks like a bunch of crazy lines, but I think once the paint is on there, it'll look pretty good. They, again, follow the floorboard. I still got to metal work it. I ended up going around off camera because the camera died and welding the entire thing on after the spot welds just because I felt like it needed to be there. I don't know. But it looks okay. Again, save that in your memory. That, and that. I don't know. It really doesn't matter what's there. I think lines are fine. It's I think it'll look really nice painted. That's what I'm hoping. But all of the metal finishing in there is good, so I'll go through metal finish all these edges, get this primed up. I had that piece that we made here, I have to make over here. I have to, basically I've been getting all of this squared away so I can try and cut those bars out of the inside of the car. If you've never been here to see the other videos, there's cross braces in here. There's a brace across here. Everything's tied in to where the door is still open and shut properly. Since basically the car would have been just floppy and terrible if those weren't there. So I'm trying to get it to where I know for sure that it's stiff enough that I can cut those back out and then go in, because I can't really reach my body in there to get all of the welding that needs to be done. I unburied the brake, but I also ran out of time. So I think we're going to stop it here. I wanted to show y'all one more thing. I've had this is called a throatless shear, a Beverly shear. Beverly's the name, but some people consider them throatless. I've had this Beverly B1 shear for a long time. This is a 16 gauge rated shear. It works awesome. It cuts 16 gauge sheet metal like it's paper. It's effortless. I have been looking for one of these for a very long time. Before I bought that, this is what I was looking for. This is a Beverly B3 shear. It doesn't have the OEM handle, which kind of sucks, so I have to make a new handle. I'll try and make one out of some nice DOM instead of what looks like a random black pipe or whatever this is. This is capable up to 3/16, which is pretty wild for a shear that you operate by hand. Oh, I need to make a stand for that so we can put that thing to work. That's going to come in handy on a lot of projects. If I'm plating frames with 3/16 steel and I need to cut off corners and stuff, that's the guy. That's going to be awesome. But I figured I'd show y'all a little preview. I get excited about old tools. I don't know. I got some random newer stuff in here. The old stuff is where it's at to me. This is like a lifelong tool. This was probably older than I am. And I'll use it for until I get too old to use it and some other guy will use it. They last forever. But yeah, it's pretty good progress this weekend. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. Again, my friends, I blame them. This time, I'm kind of blaming Justin. It's James's fault always, but Justin gets some of the blame too because he started this whole RC thing. I've never had one in my life, and then it's turned into this whole big thing the last couple of weeks, and now I just can't stop doing it for some reason. I never thought that I would be into it in my entire life. But I'm rambling. I appreciate y'all watching. Again, thank you for the 4,000 subscribers. It's awesome. And we'll see you again next Sunday. We're going to get back in here and get back to work. We should have the firewall done by next Sunday. The gussets that I've talked about for the last 3 weeks, those should be in. And then we need to work on the rear firewall, or whatever you want to call that back panel. And that's it. The floor is done. Once the floor is done, hopefully by the following weekend, I can have my buddies come over here, help me set the front clip on, and we are chopping those frame rails off to get those at the correct height as the body. And that's going to be huge. Once those are chopped off, we're going to put it on the ground. It doesn't need to go on the ground yet because I still got to work on the trunk and I got to do a bunch of other stuff. But we're going to put it on the ground. We need that instant gratification and that push. But again, I'm just rambling along. I'll see y'all next Sunday.